Hey everybody, welcome to ReconCast episode 3. Joe and Dan, we're going to get together and we're going to go ahead and talk about the peers test given by the Nehemiah Institute. Stay tuned and I hope you all enjoy.
Well, Mr. Graham.
Hey, hello Dan, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good here today.
Yeah, are we live?
We're live and
Yeah.
up a good weekend.
Yes, so this is another ReconCast for us. It's been a little while.
It has been. It has been a little while.
I'll accept the majority of the responsibility due to my work schedule, but not like I'm making any excuses that you would accept at least.
No, I don't like excuses. It's not really what I'm about. I like to have people take responsibility, kind of own the fact that they may or may not have made time for certain things. And,
Apparently, our fan base is out there, and they are yearning for more material, more ReconCast. That's what they want. That's what I've heard.
we have got some subscriber back.
Some subscriber. Got one fan. Better keep.
Fan we know of, and that fan challenged us recently, didn't he?
Yeah.
He said, "When are you gonna make another podcast?"
Yeah. I mean, we're thinking like a biannual, maybe, or triannual. I think we're up to triannual now.
Yep. So I don't know. I mean, maybe we're taking the posture. We don't want to clutter people's inbox. Everybody has enough podcasts to listen to. We don't want to, create noise out there in the blogosphere.
Sure. No, I understand. I get it. But yeah, apparently, they want to hear you and I talk about what we're doing. So hey, Memorial Weekend. How about that? I had quite a few days off, more than I've had in quite some time.
Yep, fantastic. I love that. What were you guys up to this weekend?
We saw each other there for the graduation, homeschool graduation. That was pretty sweet.
I love those. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yep.
That was a good time. It's the season for homeschool graduation, and this particular graduate graduated top of her class.
That's interesting. Yep, I remember hearing that, and it was shortly followed with the lest you be too impressed, who also finished at the bottom of her class.
Yeah, but I think the purpose was for us to be optimistic, so we'll probably just go with top of the class.
It's funny. That joke works unless you have twins or triplets.
Yeah. And then there's going to be a shakedown.
Yeah. I don't think that joke would fly. So, well.
Yeah, maybe we'd stagger it like summer or winter or something. Be like, yeah, you're just not ready. We only graduate valedictorians, okay? So, yeah, but that was good. There was a ton of people that showed up there for that graduation. They came from all over. I was pretty impressed. So pleasantly surprised that people were coming from all over the state.
Yeah, and what a blessing, really, to celebrate. A lot of effort went into that, a lot of discipline, a lot of perseverance for the graduate to complete the work and do what kind of achieve that objective and that goal. They set a goal. The parents said, "Hey, here's what we've outlined as the criteria," and it wasn't just math and science, was it? It was more than that. But they set the criteria. The student, the child, rose to the occasion, really got after it over the last few years, and said, "Okay, you know what? This is up to me. I can put some time in, and I can finish. Earlier than what the typical age for public school graduates. There's late 17-year-old 18-year-old
I
typical.
think I was 18. I was 18 when I graduated.
There's some out there that are 17.
Very young 18.
But, yep. And but really, if you complete the criteria, you can graduate as early as 16, maybe even younger. I don't know. I'd love to hear from our listeners out there if anybody, the earliest age somebody has been able to finish their kind of core education of what we would typically consider high school or primary and secondary education.
Primary
right?
and secondary, probably, yeah. I was pretty impressed by the thoughtfulness that the parents had, specifically with being aware of their particular child, their graduate, and kind of set some markers for them, some milestones about, hey, yeah, I know you have a lot of strengths, but you also have some weaknesses, and we want you to be well-rounded. So I thought that was good. They, kind of trying to get her out of her comfort zone in some areas that she probably wouldn't have volunteered to do, because they saw that it was an important, necessary step to further her education, and I thought that was great. That was a great template. So I appreciate it, and I'm sure that all the other kids, children that were also there, can learn from it as well. So now they have something that they're aspiring to. They're like, oh man, I can actually be done.
Right. I think there's going to be a burst of energy here from a lot of the school-age children now.
Yeah. So no, it was good. Yeah.
Which is great, actually. I mean, that's encouraging. It's edifying each other, and really showing an example, I think, of a way to do education in a godly, biblical approach, and one that I think really honors that family dynamic and the beauty of being able to raise and disciple someone at home, and get to a point where you say, okay, we are sharpening this arrow. We are getting ready to let the arrow fly, and here we've hit a milestone, and we can step back and celebrate that. So I like celebrating milestones like that. So congratulations.
Great. Yeah, congrats, Grad. So next up, what else did you do? That was on Saturday.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
and then you guys tried to. You graciously invited us over to your house after the ceremony on Saturday, and I appreciate it. And I didn't even talk to you about this yet. So we, my wife and I, we had made plans to go to IKEA, the time energy sucking institution of IKEA, and so. I had high hopes, Dan. I had high hopes, man. I was like, we're going to get in there. You should have seen me. I was on a mission. I was moving. I was like, let's go. Let's get going. And, it all started off by like having to deal with the parking situation. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Because I didn't even realize that they're building an entirely new IKEA right next to it.
Oh,
I guess on the old parking lot, apparently. So you think about the traffic that IKEA gets, and now they've basically demolished 60% of their parking. Oh, and it's Memorial Day weekend.
That's smart.
Yeah. Oh, and get this, they were having a special at IKEA that if you paid over $100, you ate for free. I didn't even know this. So nobody's leaving. Everybody's there and eating, and I mean they're just gorging themselves as much as they can.
Not to be rich, just smart.
So we found parking. We got in there, and we were looking for some bookcases and a desk.
Yeah, pretty simple. I mean, that's really in one section of the store, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it should not take us that long, right? We're just gonna, bust in there and
go
bust
in,
her out.
go out, hit the shortcuts right to the warehouse, load up.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not even really looking at the furniture, Dan. I mean, my wife wants me to look, but honestly, I'm just like, I pull up my phone and I'm like, click. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Click, take a picture. What's the little tag? Click, 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 click. And I'm just taking pictures of everything as we go through. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Okay, click. Oh, what do you like? You like that? Click, 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 click. I'm really trying to avoid giving too much input because that's just going to lead to dialogue, and dialogue is going to lead to discussion, and it's going to lead to thoughts, and I want to avoid thoughts as much as possible because I'm trying to increase our productivity here. Just like let's move, create momentum. And you, you were on the other end texting me. You're like, "Hey, how's it going? How's IKEA going?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dan, I'm in IKEA, and this is a hostage situation. Okay, I'm being a hostage.
Well, I was here. I was good-natured. I was, all goodwill out there. I was really trying to encourage you to come over, maybe share a meal. But once I heard that you were there and you were still there, and you said this is a constant hostage situation, I said, oh man, their ransom, it's too high. I'm out. Yeah. You're on your own. There's nothing left, nothing I can do for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we made it through halfway through the store, and we made it to the food section, and then it was like decision time for us because I don't remember what time it was, but we were like, okay, we either eat here and try to get the deal, eat for free, which for us, I mean, we're 10 people, so I mean, we're definitely getting our money's worth if we're eating for free.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I really think that IKEA is losing out on that deal. So we're like, okay, well, do we eat here or do we try to bang through here and go see the Stahoskis? And we're like, we're thinking about it. We're like, if we go to the Stahoskis, then it's still another 2 hours till we get home, and we still have the other half of the store to get through, and kids are already, I don't know about you, brother, but when my kids are hungry, it's like meltdown phase. It's bad.
Yeah, I've experienced that once or twice before. We kind of, I don't know, grown, matured, kind of beyond some of that. But yeah, no, I understand. I know where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what if there's a spiritual gift as far as like, not being, not getting hungry or something like that, or being content while still starving. But my kids don't have it. They don't have it.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm taking notes down here, Joe. Don't worry about it.
You can pray for me. I would appreciate it.
Yeah. It's called first time obedience, and just a parenting thing. It's just a parenting thing. It doesn't reflect you per se, personally.
If you could send me a list of about like 15 books to read, that would really help me out, probably.
Yeah.
So we decided to stay there.
Notes, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, we'll just put it in the show notes. Yeah.
Yeah, you better keep that. So we decided to eat, and then we pressed on through the rest of the store, and I think we finally got out of there at like 8:00. So even with trying to press, we were still there for 5 hours. We were there forever, a really long time.
No, I mean that's pretty standard. Pretty standard.
Trip.
Yeah. I mean, you got 10 people, Mr. Graham. 10 people. You have many different personalities and tastes involved there, and you're looking to buy furniture. You have more who have per se, certain opinions about that than you have those who are just efficiency gainers, right? So you're gonna get there, and then I mean, I don't know about you, but it's one thing to go through the store. For me, it's the warehouse. I mean, that thing I have to bring an extra cart just for my kids because they want to ride the whole time. And quite honestly, I'm okay with that because it keeps them contained. Yeah. And that's helpful.
Well, I mean, I have almost 3 teenagers now, and so with all those IKEA carts, how they basically are free spinning wheels, it's kind of like it's kind of like a ballet that I have going on in the warehouse with kids like jumping on carts and they're spinning them and rolling, down the lanes and stuff. And I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, oh my God, who are these kids? Are these whose kids are these? Just, oh man. but I'm trying to keep them occupied. I'm
Sure.
trying to keep them occupied.
That,
So, yeah,
that's primary
we
focus.
made it. We made it.
Yep. Well, so
So,
you survived that.
yeah.
I got a
And you,
text from you saying, "Hey, you're on your way home," and I thought,
yeah.
well, I mean, it, that was a great text. I wasn't sure for a little while. I wasn't sure if you're gonna just
They
pull
have,
up there, on one of their couches or one of their beds and be like, "I'm done. I'm tapped
they have,
out."
they have tons of beds. Do they do that? Can you just like, rent a sofa or something?
Maybe, I think
They
you,
have cinnamon rolls for the morning, I think.
yeah.
We
Well,
could do
that
it.
was a good thing because,
Airbnb IKEA.
you know, as it turns out, Mr. Graham, uh, you know, the offer was there, and it was always a good offer. You're more than welcome to come by. But as it turns out, my wife had come to the realization about midday that we were in a 3-day weekend. Now,
Hmm.
our life is so busy, we don't really know, we don't really look 1 week ahead. So when she realized that, and just how rigid our schedule's been the last probably 4 months, she said, honey, uh, we need to get out of Dodge. So we actually had the kids down a little earlier than normal, and we had their bags packed for an overnight trip across the mountains to a place that we love. And so that's where we were. So we actually took a couple days away from the homestead and away from laundry and dishes and all of that, and took some time just to be with the family and to one of my wife's favorite places. And it was great. She loved it. I think she felt refreshed. It was so warm and sunny. The kids played in a pool for a little while, and that was wonderful to see them just enjoy playing together like that. Probably ate a little too much ice cream. That's kind of a very constant theme, but
That's a good Memorial Day problem, though,
it
right?
was, yeah, it was a lot of fun until we got to drive home, which we just did today. Just drove home, sat in traffic for a long, long time. Apparently, there was a couple accidents along the way.
Yeah, there's a ton of people on the road today.
Yeah. So, but all in all, great weekend. Feel refreshed, rejuvenated. Um,
Yeah, you guys
and
said where'd you guys say you guys went again?
yeah, to a little town called Leavenworth. I don't know if anybody's been there out here in the beautiful Northwest.
I honestly have not been there.
Mm, must be it's a must destination for sure.
Okay.
I don't think that's a good phrase, but I think you know what I mean. Um, it, it's got to be
We'll go
on.
with that.
Not
We'll go with that.
we'll just go with that.
Just
Anyway,
keep.
yeah, you gotta check it out. It's a lot of fun on the summer. A lot of hikes. A lot of people take mountain biking. A lot of fishing trips. Maybe rafting. You can float down the river but it's a little Bavarian village actually, which is one of the big draws. So a lot of great Bavarian food, festivities, things to do there right in the town, as well
What are
as
the
getting
Bavarians famous for anyway?
a lot of
Like
bratwurst, a lot of spatzel. I'm gonna get. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Sazal?
Spazzle? What? Um, is this on? Click, click. Um, and yeah, a little sauerkraut, a little German
Hmm.
potato salad.
Yeah.
It's really good. But you can go there and they have all sorts of food now, but a lot of great German food. So it's a highlight. And then in the winter, they get a lot of snow actually. So a lot of places let you rent cross country skis or other things like that. You can do a lot of hay rides, sleigh rides in the winter.
You need chains to get up there?
You might, you may. A lot of,
Maybe.
if you have snow tires for sure though. Yeah, siped, snow tires, or with studs. Some have studless snow tires are really good. But yeah, you're gonna cross over a mountain pass, and that mountain pass can get pretty hairy. there in the winter. So you'd want to make sure you have some chains with you.
Yeah. Well, maybe for the summer we'll get a chance. We'll go out there. We got a couple more good weekends free.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Good deal.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys made it back today, right?
Just today. Yeah.
Actually, did you guys leave Sunday morning or?
We did. Yep. We left Sunday morning. Had church along the way, and it was good. A little family worship for us, and then stayed there Sunday night and came back this afternoon. Left with what we thought was going to be plenty of time to get back. Got back. We thought when we left around 3:30. That we'd be back around 5:30. Got home at actually 8:15. So a little bit extra time in the car, which, I mean, with children and all that, just goes really well.
Well, I mean, the kids love it in the car, They just listen. As long as you're moving in the car, it's fine. But I tell you, as soon as the car stops moving, everybody wants to get out. Everybody has to go to the bathroom, and then people are crying, and it's just, I don't know what it is. Just something about when the car stops moving, they all want to get out.
Yeah, and I've heard of these families when that happens, their children unbuckle or they get up and start walking around, and I'm thinking, wow, that's amazing. I wonder what that would be like. So for all those families out there, we'll keep an eye out for the cops. Make sure they don't see you. I'm sure it's pretty. Yeah. Okay. So that's our family, but for the most part, they did pretty well. We have a little DVD player. Truth be told, we have a DVD player, but it's great. Plays a lot of great biblical and movies. Anyhow, no, actually, we do enjoy watching some good movies along the road, and then we have on our phones, we have some good stations for like kids music and things that they love to listen to. So for the most part, I was surprised actually. They did pretty well today, so I was very very excited about that.
That's good.
Yep,
that's good.
We're my wife and I. She was reading to me about a book on neurodevelopment therapy actually, and so we're I don't know, many of our listeners may not know, but we have two of our children getting therapy that way, neurodevelopment therapy. It's a very unique kind, but it's incredibly effective for children with all types of behavioral issues or even fundamental issues like autism or Down syndrome, stroke victims, all sorts can benefit from it, and it's life-changing actually for a significant number of them. So she was reading me a book with a lot of testimonials, very encouraging for us. So that was a great use of our time.
That's good.
And feel a lot of hope right now from all that. So,
that's good.
What were you up to the rest of the weekend? I feel like there was something else kind of major event that happened in your life, but
so we went to church on Sunday, and then we were pretty much going to be free for the rest of the day, and we had been talking about we're expecting another baby, so we're going to be
congratulations
up to 9 now. Thank you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so 9 plus 2 is 11. So our current situation, having 11, like, we're kind of pushing the boundaries of our space limitations and things like that.
Sure.
And we've been having problems with our car and stuff like that, and our auto mechanic had said, hey, this car is on its last leg, so I'm not saying it's going to die on you any day, but you better start looking. So we've been kind of searching out there, and I tell you, for big families, the market is just really not that broad. It's very, very small.
Really? I mean, I thought the average American family was about 7 or 8 kids, but did I read that wrong?
Yeah, maybe. No, I don't think so.
No? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is there aren't very many cargo vehicles that have been converted to.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's not that many. I mean, so as far as the seating is concerned, 15 passengers considered like the top. That's the max as far as they go, and those are pretty sparse, and they seem to all be owned either by limousine companies, government agencies, or homeschool families. Like those are the only three people in that market. It's what it seems like, you know.
Wow.
So, but most of the 15 passengers have been like the Chevy vans, this kind of style.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
the Chevy Express, or I think it's a Ford, maybe a Dodge. I can't remember the other one. It's basically the same body style of the full size vans.
Yep.
They come with 15 passengers. And the other thing that stinks about a 15 passengers, yeah, you can fit 15 bodies in there, but they better not bring anything because you're stuck, man. You can't bring any clothes, or maybe you can fit, a ball under your seat, but that's it. I mean, you don't have room for anything. So you better be towing or hauling, and I mean, just think about how awkward you feel as you're driving down the road when you're not only, driving this gigantic bus, but you're also pulling, your groceries in a trailer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, awkward. Do you guys have a little like grocery run trailer, like a little 10-footer? You're like, hey kids, time to go to the store. All right, I'll go hitch up, Mom.
Yeah, maybe when I first got married, I could whip around in my little coupe or sedan or something and be like, yeah, I'm searching for parking spots in the front of, the grocery store. Now, I don't even consider that location. I'm just, where is the space? I'm looking for an empty space half a mile from the store that I'm trying to get to. That's my primary viewpoint.
And kids, it's good for you. It's exercise. Let's go.
Yeah. So we're looking around, and there's a couple different auctions and stuff like that we kind of looked at. We were actually going to go to one on Saturday, but I think they didn't have any 15 passengers, is what they said. So I think I told you about that we were looking for a car on Saturday, that we were in the market. And some of the ones that we saw now, they have the high roof or mid-size roof, which is nice because then you get a little bit of vertical room, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very quick.
Yeah, and if you ever have to traverse to the back of your vehicle to go and, I don't know, help somebody get rebuckled in, or, gently encourage them to do something, or praise them for their magnificent obedience, or whatever it might be. Sure,
yeah. That last one sounded familiar.
Yeah. You may want a little bit of room to do that in. So the roof size is kind of a big deal as well. So there, we had been looking, and we found this one that we really liked, and it's new, like new.
Oh yeah, wow. So you were you on the Greyhound website or like the Bluebird website or?
Yeah, no, we were still in the standard domestic or foreign dealership market. Yeah, but there's basically
on eBay looking for old used like airport shuttle buses.
Yeah, that's basically what I felt like I would have been on.
Not a bad option.
Yeah, for some kind of old shuttle service, they're hand-me-downs from 4 or 5 years ago or something. Yeah, so I'm thinking about safety, reliability, seating, obviously, comfort, convenience, and just room for the love, just some room. So we found one. We found one, and we were talking about it on Sunday. We're like, I think we need to find something, because we kind of this kind of needs to happen. So we went out, and we started calling around all the dealerships and stuff, because we pretty much were sure we were going to be dealing with a new car to find the one that we wanted. We saw one that would probably fit pretty close to where we lived, but we were just trying to figure out who else had whatever. So we're Googling as we're driving to church about best way to buy a new car and stuff like that, just trying to gouge ourselves up as fast as we can before we start dealing with these, with the dealer sharks. So we get our info, and And all the dealers are like, yeah, no, I don't have anything, but I can find one for you. Just come by. And we're like, no,
Yeah,
no, I don't want to.
come on, get on the showroom floor. We
To
can
the
get you
lot,
something.
get to the lot. Yeah, so pretty much what we found out is the only 15 passenger with the high roof that we wanted and with the extended length. You know what that means?
Oh, are you like getting a motorhome now? Like,
Okay, so not only does it have fit 15 people, but it has more room in the back to store
wow.
stuff.
Uh,
It's like a homeschool dad's dream.
Brother, I'm like starting to covet a little bit here. This sounds incredible.
No. You don't need to. We'll go. We'll go for a trip together.
We have a road trip planned now. Good.
Yeah. We'll go. We'll do our Chelan trip or something.
Okay. Because I know our last podcast, just for the viewers out there, it was just before I did a road trip with your family and ours as we went across country.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm just curious.
I didn't get to be there. I didn't even get to be there for that.
No, you were out traveling around somewhere. Anyhow.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, at the rate we're going, we're going to outbreed anything that a dealer can make if we try to keep us together. So, yeah, so it's got the extended length, but this is the only vehicle that was in the whole area. And so we called the dealership and we got talking to a guy and he was super nice, very helpful, not pressuring us to be, like super high pressure salesman type tactics, like just come on and take a look at it.
Yeah, come along, it's great.
Yeah, no, he was very forthright and told us, hey, this is what I can do. This is the best price that I can get you, because apparently they don't make very much money off of new cars anyway. Most of their equity is in used cars. So they were just, they were really, really helpful. And yeah, we went there and we bought a car, new car.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations, I think, right? Well, I mean, so I have to tell you a funny story about that. So you did this, and then my wife was watching a video of that you had sent over, and I didn't know what the video was about, but I saw two of your daughters in tears, and everybody was kind of celebrating, and I asked her, it's like, what's this about? It's like, oh, this is when Joe told the children. That was just it. And I was like,
about the baby.
Wow. Well,
did she tell you?
I didn't know
she
it
didn't
was about
say
the baby. No, you just told with thunder. Okay, you just told with thunder. No, so these kids are in tears. I'm thinking, wow, they waited really too long to get a new van. I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing to be really frugal and wait and really drive it into the ground. But you got girls in tears at
crying.
the thought that you got a new van.
Yeah.
But actually, the video was about them. The announcement that you made about the new baby, and then it all made sense. But it was hilarious.
So the order was a little bit, we're trying to catch up. Yeah. No, actually, this is the first new car that I've ever bought. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, how'd it drive?
Man, it's great. It drives like a dream. It's good. Yeah, it's got super good turn radius and stuff, which I'm pretty surprised at. Considering it's like 40 feet long or whatever.
Actually, I was curious how long it is.
Yeah, I measured it. I think it's I kind of just walked it off. I think it was around 24 or something like that. Wow. 24 feet long.
Yeah, there's definitely motorhomes that size.
Yeah. Well, you could you could fit a big screen TV in this thing. It's got so much room.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, congratulations. That's fun. I bet you guys are going to love that. Now, I'm curious, your wife, is she excited about driving that big of a vehicle?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's pretty stoked. I mean, she's able to move around the Chevy Express that we had, which was an 8-passenger converted over to 11, and she could whip that thing around grocery stores and, she may be able to find parking at the front of the store with that thing, but I wouldn't do that. I would stay far away.
Yeah, that's going to take a couple spots, I think.
Yeah, she gets pretty capable, so I think she's going to be all right.
So did they do a trade-in at all? Or did you get anything? Did you get a couple $100 for your?
So I thought about that. I was like, hey, am I going to trade in my old car? And I'm looking at it, and he's looking at it. And it's just like, he's like, yeah, I mean, maybe I could get you $500, $1,000. I was like, no way. It's not worth it to turn it in for that. I would much rather like find somebody who needs a van, who
Yeah.
like doesn't have one, is, bursting at the seams with 4 kids or something like that, and they just need some help for a little while.
Yeah.
Like that would be much better. I'd rather, bless somebody than, just save a little money for a dealer.
Right. Yeah.
It's not worth it. Not worth
Yeah.
it. So
Very cool. I love that. That's a great heart.
yeah, so we'll hang on to it, and yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be sweet.
I love it. Oh
So
man, it sounds like a lot of fun. I think you
yeah.
guys are gonna really be blessed by that. I mean, I assume there's windows and those windows open and close, doors
Yeah,
close all the way. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Shut up, man. You don't even understand, man. I can't even, in the old car, I couldn't even go through a drive-through because my window wouldn't go down. I'm like, "Ugh!" I feel so mad. Like, I think it was Saturday or something. We went through Taco Bell,
Yeah.
and I roll the window down, and it starts going, "Brrr!" And I'm like, ah, like it rolls down 4 inches, and the guy's like, "Hey, what do you want?" I said, "I'm just pulling through. We're gonna come inside." I don't even want to go through the drive-through with a window that doesn't work. It's super embarrassing. I can't stand it. So yes, the new windows roll down, but I won't fit through any drive-throughs. So
Now you're too
it's kind
tall.
of a moot point.
Now you're too
Yeah.
tall for it.
Yeah, no, it's 9 feet tall. It's 9 feet tall.
Wow.
Yeah, it's massive. So
Yeah,
you will not miss us driving by.
No, yeah, that's so cool. Is it diesel or is it hybrid?
Yeah,
Is it all electric? What'd you get?
it's a diesel. It's got like the towing package, which is good because if we do need to tow our groceries, if that ever happens.
Wow.
But so it's got the towing package. It's a 3/4 ton, which is pretty impressive
Awesome.
as well. So this is the first diesel that I've ever owned as well. So I got to kind of brush myself up on what that means, what that looks like. So it comes with, because of the towing package, it comes with some extra batteries and stuff like that. But it's got like the little navigation system, and it's got rear camera, which I've never had that. I think you got that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a necessity now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever had that, so that's pretty cool.
Oh,
But we did have to trim down a couple branches on the way into the house so that we weren't hitting them as we drive in every day. So we did do that a little bit today.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
so kind of fun. So
Yep.
cool. Well, you want to get to it, but what we're
Sure.
actually going to talk about?
Yeah, that was a great intro.
That was a pretty long intro, but that's all right. Yeah, so what I wanted for us to kind of go over is I had written recently a blog post because in the spirit of the fact that it is the end of the school year for most people, and we do have mandated state testing for everyone. So everyone has to go and they have to get their standard academic tests. In my family, we kind of, we use that state testing. We're like, yeah, okay, we do that. It doesn't tell us anything we know really. But we want a test that actually measures something that's really, really valuable, and that's a person's worldview. And so we have this resource that we've been using for quite some time called the Peers Test, and it's a biblical worldview measurer. I mean, I guess it could be a humanist worldview measurer as well. But basically, this test is what we want to be giving our children so that they can, so we can get an assessment of how some of our discipleship and teaching and things like that are going and progressing and stuff like that. So we give that to them. So I opened it up to a bunch of people, a bunch of our friends that we have, and just to kind of see, hey, how many people might be interested in becoming a part of that. So I think you were on that list.
Yep.
You've taken the test once before. I've taken the test twice already. So I'm not taking it this time, but I don't know if you had time to do it now because you probably were, because you guys took the trip. So, but yeah, so I've a bunch of people that I'm waiting for them to go ahead and take their tests, and we'll get them all processed, and we'll get our information back. So, but yeah, we've used the Peers test before from the Nehemiah Institute, and you've taken it. You've taken it before, right?
I have.
And
Yeah,
what do you think about it?
Took it a couple years ago, and looking forward to taking it again probably this week. Yeah, you got from NehemiahInstitute.com, It's a great test. It does take a little bit of time. Yeah, it takes about an hour or so to work your way through it. You want to be thoughtful and try to find some time with no interruptions, which, as we've just alluded to in our introduction, is fairly common in our lives, actually.
Rolling around in free time.
Yeah, just lots of free, quiet time. So it does take taking initiative to do it. But what's fascinating to me is I feel like I'm a bit of a late bloomer in the terms of understanding worldviews. I I think until just a few years ago I wasn't even aware that I had a worldview, and then let alone did I know what type of worldview that might be. So it's been a good journey that I've been on, learning more about worldviews and just what that means, the perspective that it has, and how really it is the lens by which we approach life, and how important that is that it's a biblical worldview. So what I appreciate about the Nehemiah Institute is it kind of gives three different types of worldviews, like the buckets, right? It has biblical theism, moderate Christian, and secularism, and it kind of breaks down in that regard. And so,
yeah, it's also got socialism too. That's like that's the place you do not want to be.
Oh, you
That's
don't,
the bottom of the barrel.
You're gonna want to avoid that. No offense to Bernie Sanders or anything, but
I know, isn't that so terrible? Like, this guy's an open socialist, and it's just like the absolute opposite. It's like the pure antithesis of a biblical perspective in handling just a host of issues.
And yet, I think that's why it's so important that we take these tests, because we're inundated in it, and we live in this culture, and it's very easy to not realize where you are at on that spectrum. And in some regards, whether it's economic or others, you may find yourself really further away from a biblical perspective than you thought. And not because you are that different than the folks you go to church with or the families that you spend time with, but because we all are subject to being kind of indoctrinated, so to speak, with a worldview that is less than biblical. And so it's important that we have these checkpoints along the way to help guide us and kind of open our eyes to the reality of where we're at, so that. And really, I think, Joe, why would you say it's so important that we know what our worldview is? Because I think it is important.
Yeah, well, I think we talk about education, but, you get into these conversations or you hear someone make a claim about, college should be free for everybody. Or, hey, government-sponsored healthcare is great. It's a great thing.
Yeah.
Right. And it's and I hate to see even Christians get sucked into the idea that that the collective is more important than the individual. And the socialist perspective is not just that the collective is more important than the individual, but that the state has to maintain that that suppressing of that individual pursuit of money or value or whatever, and so that gets suppressed so that everyone else is on the same level. So like this creates this equality, quote unquote, playing field. But what it does basically just drops everybody to the lowest common denominator and does not allow for excellence or pursuit of perfection or pursuit of whatever your particular skills are and excelling in your business or field. It doesn't allow for that, because it just destroys everything. So, but so many people that I see, they just get sucked into it. They get sucked into it, and usually, it's mostly for emotional reasons, because they just have an empathetic heart towards other people, which is good. I mean, you want to be able to serve people, and you want to love people, and you want to help them, but then if you want to help them, then just go help them. Don't make other people have to help them. Like that's contrary to the whole viewpoint, to say, that the biblical viewpoint is that the individual is primary over the collective. And so, we defend the rights of a single person and and their individual rights over against everybody else as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So it breaks it all down to every single person. But that takes that's not like a common viewpoint that people think. We hear that mantra, we need to, let's make bonds for the kids, to support some kind of school program or something like that. Don't you want money for the kids and help the kids and stuff like that? But forgetting about all the people that number one, may not even have kids in the public
Right.
schools, or you're stealing from them, like they don't even want to do that. It's not even a part of it.
Yeah.
It's just it's unfortunate is what it is. So, but yeah, no, I think that it's really, really valuable, and so I've taken the test a couple of times, and I think one of my children took it, and the other one still has to go, but but my main concern is the fact that I think that it's really, really helpful to make us think about the worldviews that are constantly in conflict with each other. This whole like when I see I don't know, have you ever seen like those coexist bumper stickers?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're
Oh my gosh. Like it's just like the epitome of ignorance. Either they're intentionally naive or they're deceptively evil, because it's not possible. Like these two viewpoints are at odds with each other, and you can't just say, oh, we can live at peace and live at harmony, and basically so long as you don't think whatever it is that you believe, so long as you don't act on it or try to actually do it, at all in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
So what ends up winning essentially is the secular humanist viewpoint over against all others. In the sense of equality. And when they say equality, they just basically mean what they believe and not what you believe.
And it really, so what you're saying, it really comes down to ideas, and ideas have consequences. And socialism and secular humanism would say that man is supreme. Man has the ability to ascend to all knowledge and all ability, and therefore there is no other authority they need to adhere to. They are their own God, so to speak. And so their idea is, hey, let's put the power into the state and let the state give back to the people according to its kindness or graciousness. The challenge with that is that, or the problem with that is that Scripture says that the graciousness or the mercy of the ungodly is destructive. And so the other idea is a biblical theism, which says no, all authority is in God, and God is ultimate mercy and grace, and He has an approach for how to engage in life, how to engage culture, how to transform culture into a biblical culture, into a godly culture that honors the King and honors the kingdom, rather than the other way around. And what I think most of us would fall into a category of what is that moderate Christian in some of these, maybe not in every category, whether it be ethical, moral, or legal, but in to some degree we're gonna be a blended approach. 1 foot in the kingdom, 1 foot in the world, as you say in your blog post, and it's dangerous because it becomes a slippery slope pretty quickly. We want to be tolerant, we want to be loving and understanding, and yet, but very few of us take the time to understand what is a true biblical perspective or position in on morality or in charity. And so when we do that, we give up the battle, and because we don't know the foundation that we stand on, and therefore we succumb to the other side's foundation. And once we do that, once we give up the Word of God as the foundation, then really we're battling we're basically battling on their turf, and ultimately we're not going to win that battle. Our ideas will fall flat when we do that. the key is to have a biblical foundation, go to the Word of God, and have our ideas be brought out of and drawn out of the Word of God. I believe if we do that, our ideas are going to win because they are perfectly just, they are merciful beyond mercy, and they are gracious beyond all things because they are the essence and trueness of God. And those
That's
ideas are,
actually going to bring a blessing to people.
yeah, they will, in true blessing, right? And not
Right.
not a short-term blessing. We won't be using one group of people against another group. We won't be inciting rivalries or acts of violence, um, but we'll actually be serving, and we'll be serving our neighbors and those who are in need.
Yeah, because
As a
it
result,
focuses on the fact that every person as an individual is responsible before God for what they do and their own actions. And so that covers everything. That covers both their work and their charity. Both what they do for a profession and how they handle their church life. All of those things, they are responsible for what they do and how they behave. And the thing that why I really, really love the Pearce test specifically is because there was so much that I didn't know. I didn't really know where I was. I didn't even know that these categories were kind of, they were out there. I guess I was just going through the motions and going to church and doing the praying and doing the small groups or doing the whatever. And I didn't really sit back to take stock of where I was mentally, how I process these thoughts and these ideas. So you get, it's the political season, right? For now. So it's kind of fresh in everyone's mind. Everyone's kind of thinking because, all these ideas are really battling and colliding with each other right now. So people are a little bit sensitive to it more now than before. But you can see even on the chart that Nehemiah Institute put out, I mean, things are not going well. Things are not going well from the biblical worldview perspective. And so, I mean, the chart was informative on one sense, but when I actually took the test, now I can put myself on there and say, hey, I'm a data point here, and what does that mean, and which direction, if I keep doing whatever I'm doing, which direction am I going to go?
right.
Probably
Well,
the way that the chart's
it's
going.
really easy to assume that we have a more biblical view than we really do. That was what really surprised me. I realized, wow, I have a little work to do. Actually, I need to take this a little more seriously and really dig into what does it mean to be a biblical theist. And it really is in line with what Romans 12:1 and a very many other verses talk about, right? Which is, beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you give up your body as a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is a reasonable serving of God, and fashion not yourself unto this world, but be changed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what that good and acceptable and perfect will of God is. And that just drives this point home, I think, right? The good and acceptable and perfect will of God is in relation to your worldview, into your life. How do you carry yourself at home, when you're by yourself, at work? Are you a consistent representation of that good and acceptable and perfect will of God? Or do you categorize your life? Hey, I'm one thing at work because in the business place, in the marketplace, you just have to behave one way. And then
Right.
at home, you're different. And by yourself, you're different. And if that's the case, I really challenge you to consider who is Jesus Christ to you? Are you taking that seriously, or are you being caught up in the ways of the world and fashioning yourself, and then now you're just in these the way Nehemiah Institute categorizes, are you a secular humanist or a moderate Christian as you approach that marketplace? Or are you approaching the marketplace for Christ and bringing the kingdom to bear even in that place, which I believe is doable and possible and is the intent?
We understand that the world is hurting and people are hurting as well, right? And they have problems. The world has problems. The world has issues. People have these things that, these struggles, difficult times that they're going through, and they need answers. They want answers. They want to find out what's the right thing to do. I think, just intrinsically people want to make the right decision, and what we're saying and what we're putting our faith and hope in is that Christ has the answers for everything, for all of life, to restore, what has been taken away, to bring hope to the brokenhearted, to restore families, to restore broken relationships, to restore nations, to restore, broken churches, all of those things, that Christ can heal all that stuff. We just have to take it seriously, and we have to follow his prescription for it too.
It's funny because I don't know if very many years ago I would have been listening to that saying, okay, so he actually has a prescription, and I wonder what that is. And now it's like I truly believe that I know he has a prescription for every aspect of life, and it's up to us then to seek that out, right? And he says, ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door will be open to you. So I believe he wants to reveal these things to us. He wants to work in us so that we can transform the lives of the people in our communities, in our neighborhood, and like you said, in our state, in our nation. It'll spread. If you think about how Christ started 2,000 years ago with just the 12 disciples, it went to 70, it went beyond that, it's transformed the world. He wants to continue that work, and it's by having a worldview that lines up with Scripture and that lines up with his approach to influencing the world around us. So, no, I think this is a great test, and I would encourage anyone to do that. It's a litmus test in some regards, and I think that their Nehemiah Institute, I just really respect what they do. I know you're more familiar with them than even I am, and yet I really appreciate their work and definitely endorse it and support it. So
I talked to Dan. I talked to Dan Smithwick. He's the founder. Before we took our test, and they're actually coming out with a new course. They've been doing this ministry for a long time. It's been targeted to students primarily, so hitting Christian schools or homeschoolers and things like that, and educating those people. Right. And they're still seeing the same downward trends, even after a decade plus of doing this work. And so then now they're kind of reorienting their focus, and now they're going to start doing kind of more adult specific teaching and training courses. So they're coming out with a DVD series, I think, maybe even a downloadable.
So while we wait for Joe's or my internet connection to reconnect, I just wanted to walk you through what they're finding. So they have on their website, NehemiahInstitute.com, their homepage, they have a chart that shows the worldview position of high school youth from the Christian community. It's approximately 90,000 students, and it represents 1,000 Christian schools. So less than 2% of those graduates have what they would call a biblical worldview coming out of the Christian schools. The traditional Christian schools, that about 10 to 12% are taking that first-time testing, land in the moderate Christian perspective. Less than 3% of homeschool youth, it looks like, land in between moderate and biblical theism. Public schools, over 80 to 85% of Christians who graduate from a public school will have a secular humanist worldview. So I think that it's the time is of the essence to really start to drill this home. I think as you see the political winds growing, we have Democratic nominees and Republican nominee who is very liberal, and so the political headwinds are going one direction. We as Christians need to stand up and shine the light of a different direction, And I believe that we will have persecution, but we will be able to change the lives of those that we interact with for Christ, and ultimately, we believe reconstruct the communities that we live in for Christ, as He blesses that work and brings about His will on earth as it is in heaven. So let's walk in that. Let's bless that. It looks like we are going to have to end this episode tonight, but we will continue this on. Unless, did I hear Joe? Joe, are you there?
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Oh,
I don't
you're
know if you
back.
can hear me.
Okay. We just a little bit of internet connection issues. It's okay. We only live in the Northwest, where there's many of the world's largest internet companies, but it's fine. They're probably using the bandwidth tonight. I get it. So, Joe, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I thought it was good. I'm glad that we got a chance to reconnect.
Yes.
And get another ReconCast out there for our one fan. So
well,
I hope he enjoys it.
I hope he listens to this tomorrow, and I hope I hear from him.
Yeah, let me know. So, and I'll see if I can get my wife to start listening too. We'll see what happens.
That'd be great. Yeah.
So
great. Okay. Well, good to catch up with you, Joe. Always good.
Yeah. Sounds good. We'll do it again soon. It's on something else. I don't know what. We'll figure something out.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll do it on the results of your tests.
Yeah. Well, it could be.
Out and see if it maps to kind of where the average high school youth is performing at the moment, or maybe a little better. I don't know. But I look forward to that. And anyway, yeah, great to get to catch up and hear about a great weekend. Again, congratulations to all the homeschoolers who are finishing up what their parents have set out as their requirements for formal education or discipleship. But we all know that discipleship is a lifelong journey, and as that faith continues to transition from the parents to the children, and they really start to take it on as their own. Just what a tremendous time in their life, and I just encourage them to take this Peers test as well, and to continue to press in to not fall into the ways of the world, but to continue to seek out that narrow path, that the Lord would bless them and really strengthen them in this time. So we need good leaders, and that next generation are the leaders that are going to take us forward. And so let's all be praying for them and lifting them up and strengthen them. All right, until next time, this is ReconCast. Mr. Graham?
Yep, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. We'll have you again. Talk about it, something else.
All right, God bless.
God bless. Take care.